life. Now, this you will find very interesting very quickly. I'm going to give you this in 5 minutes. Now, if you're not a high value single, what is going to happen is that you're going to get married to somebody who is a low value single. You know why? Because in marriage and in relationships, you don't attract who you want, you attract who you are. If you lack self-awareness, you will attract somebody who lacks it. If you lack intentionality, you will attract somebody who is careless about their lives. If you lack authenticity, you will attract somebody who is fake, like yourself, right? If you lack integrity, you're going to attract a con man or a con woman because you attract based on who you are. Now, if you lack these 5 things, you will attract one of these 4 kinds of people when you get into a relationship. Number 1, you'll attract somebody that I call a volcano. I don't know whether in your geography, when you were younger, you were taken through a lesson on volcanic mountains. You know, volcanic mountains are those kinds of mountains that they explode and they come out, they bring out what is called lava. They bring out a very hot substance that becomes very destructive to the environment. Now, when you fail to cultivate these kind of qualities that we are talking about, number 1 kind of a person that you will attract is a volcano. You know why? It takes self-awareness to be able to detect somebody who has not developed self-awareness. And somebody who has not developed self-awareness is like a volcano. They are looking for somewhere to erupt. They're the people we call narcissists. They're the people who lack self-control and are reckless in their lives. You know why? When your self-awareness is low, then you attract people who have low self-awareness. And usually they have this quality called, they are volcanoes. They explode wherever they are, right? Number 2, if you don't develop these 5 qualities, the other kind of a person that you may end up attracting, you may end up attracting somebody who is very stubborn. Why? You are not intentional. Do you know it takes a lot of intentionality for you not to live a stubborn life? Because the human nature, by default, loves ease and it loves rest and it loves things that make it comfortable. And what happens is that when you lack intentionality, you attract into your circle people who are not intentional. And guess what those people are like? They are usually stubborn. They hate change. And guess what? The one thing that is consistent in marriage is marriage will always demand you to keep changing for the better so that you can have a better marriage. So you will attract somebody who is stubborn. Number 1, you will either attract a volcano, somebody who erupts everywhere. They don't have the ability to contain themselves. And then number 2, you'll attract somebody who is what? Stubborn. Number 3, very quickly, you will attract somebody who is not only stubborn, you will attract somebody who is a skunk. You know what a skunk is? It is that animal yenye ukiikaribia inatoa harufu mbaya, inafukuza kila mtu. And this is what happens when you lack this thing that I'm calling authenticity. When you lack authenticity, you become like a skunk. You develop a hypocrisy that makes you a very bad person to hang around. You become a person that when people hang around you and they discover your hypocrisy, they hate being around you, because even pretenders don't love pretense. That's why when they hang around a pretender, they get angry. You know why? This quality of authenticity is not developed in them. They are not real. They don't know how to live by truth, and they don't know how to walk in integrity. So you get to attract this kind of a person that I'm calling a skunk, right? They are the kind of a person that makes you hate being around them. And then number 4, when you lack these 5 things, and this is the last thing that I want to mention, and then I'm going to pick 1 or 2 questions, you may attract somebody that I call a porcupine. Have you ever seen what happens when you get next to a porcupine? Inatupa mshale inakudunga. And these are people who have refused to rise above their heart, above their pain. They've refused to rise above the broken heart of the boyfriend or the girlfriend that broke their heart 10 years ago. They are still rehearsing that pain, and they have refused to become aware of it and to heal from it. Now, here's the thing. When you don't heal from your yesterday's pain, you will bleed on the people that are supposed to make your tomorrow better. And when you bleed on them, they'll be very uncomfortable around you. They'll be very frustrated to be around you. And you will be somebody that is not a joy to be around, because you're not a high quality single. You are a porcupine. When people get around you, you sting them, you hurt them, because you have refused to develop these 5 qualities that we are talking about: self-awareness, self-discipline, intentionality, authenticity, and integrity. Now, let me finish by giving you a verse of scripture that I want you to think about. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse number 26 to verse number 27. It's a very profound piece of scripture that I think is important for us in our single life and in our married life. Paul says, I take my body and I make it my slave. Now, you will never be a winner in relationships if you have not made your flesh and your body your slave. Relationships are not a place to showcase your carnality. They are a place to demonstrate your maturity. And how do you demonstrate your maturity? You beat your body, you make it your slave. You conquer your appetites. You conquer those things about you that may want to sabotage your tomorrow. And guess what? The more you master yourself, the more joy you will create in your life, and the more joy you will be able to bring in the lives of others when they come around you. Life is a continuous test of how much you've mastered yourself. If you've not mastered yourself, you will become a disaster in your relationships. And nobody wants to be around a disaster. I mean, you saw what happened in Mombasa Road yesterday during the Maandamano. What was happening on the, what is that road called? I'm forgetting the name of that road that goes on top of Mombasa Road. Anywhere there is a disaster, people run away. And when you fail to master yourself, you become a disaster. And instead of attracting high quality people, you attract reckless people, because high quality people are attracted to self-discipline and self-mastery, and low quality people are attracted to recklessness and disaster and indiscipline. So I want to pray that for you as a single person, you will cultivate these things. Yeah, Expressway. Thank you, Stacy, for reminding me that. Expressway to Mlolongo, yeah? You saw the disaster that happened there. I want to challenge you, and I want to beseech you, and I want to encourage you that as you grow and as you embrace your singlehood, become more self-aware, become more self-disciplined, become highly intentional, become authentic, and walk in integrity. And guess what? Even if you never get married and you have built those 5 qualities in your life, you will enjoy your life, because marriage is not a trophy. There are people who may not get married, and that's okay. By the way, being single is not a sickness. Being single is a state and a season, and that season can be full of purpose and be full of destiny. I want to believe that this session, as short as it was, has added value. It has spoken to you. And I want to open the platform maybe for anybody who may have a question. I spoke to you from my heart to your heart, and I want to believe that this made sense, and that you will be able to take these things to your heart and make them your life mantra. I am going to be self-aware. I'm going to be self-disciplined. I am going to be intentional. I am going to be authentic, and I am going to have integrity. So let me take this back to our host, Bwana Covenant, so that he can guide us on the way forward. But I want to believe that this has added value to you as a single person. And from today, you will not endure your singlehood, but you will enjoy it. And you will not look at marriage as a score that you're waiting to score a goal and get married. No, when that season comes, of course you will enter, but you will not look at marriage as the source of joy, but you will realize that joy is an inside job. So may God bless you so much. And I hope that this again has been a blessing. Covenant, back to you.
Thank you so much. That was very brief and powerful. Boniface, I know you're tired. I was telling guys that umetoka kuongea na dunia mzima. So thank you so much. That was very, very eye-opener. For those who have been able to be on throughout, not breaking off, I hope you've been able to learn a few things. Quick one, sorry, a minute, I stopped this. Just a minute, guys.